When you start a game of Fable Fortune, you choose a quest, and the quests are entirely linked to the environments that you're playing within. So if you're in the arena, you get quests about combat and showing off, and if you're in the Harvest Festival, it's very much about celebrations and parties and things like that.
Let's get smashed!
So once you pick a quest, you've got a relatively basic objective to try and complete during the gameplay, and it could be something as simple as play 4 units or use your hero power, but trying to complete that quest will actually give you 2 major things. One is going to give you a specific card that goes into your hand that you can use during this game. And then the second reward is that you're going to be leveling up your champion, but you're also going to be choosing as well the outcome of that quest. So, classic Fable, you've got good and evil choices.
An example is Greta. So Greta's our woman of the forest, and she turns into a Balverine if you go the evil route, for example. So her 2 options, the way she changes when she goes good is her champion ability does more damage. Now, if you go the evil route and she becomes more bloodthirsty, then if you kill a unit with her ability, you start gaining health. And again, as she levels up, you'll gain more and more health. So the interesting thing for this feature for CCG fans is that you'll look at the board and you see if the opponent's playing with a lot of creatures with low health. And if so, you'll take the ability which gains you health. Or alternatively, if you're in a game where the other player's playing a few bigger units, you'll try and go good, because that will allow your character to do more damage over time. Added to that, there are certain cards in the game which morph. And those cards, depending on which alignment you've chosen, have completely different statistics and can do really incredibly different things. So again, based on the champion you're playing, you'll have access to different morphing cards. But there's also a whole selection of morphing cards within the neutral set as well. So as you're building your deck, you're going, okay, well, am I generally going to think I'm going to go good or evil in this game? And therefore, how does that work with the cards I choose for my deck? But then as you play, you may find that your opponent is playing in such a way that going good is a better way for you to play in this particular game rather than evil.
And I think the interesting thing there is that for a lot of CCGs, typically you are building out your deck thinking, okay, well, how is it all going to fit together perfectly? And what are the types of plays that I'm going to do? But with our game, you've actually got that opportunity that you can change your plan in the middle of a game, and that you've got that extra diversity that comes with not only just the morphing cards, but then with the morphing hero power as well, and that you can actually switch between those 2 and really create some interesting combos as well, and sort of great synergy between some of the interesting cards.
Yeah.
And I think it's always frustrating when if you're playing a game and you end up losing because of something that possibly you couldn't control, or that you didn't feel there was any way that you could actually have done anything differently to have won. Whereas I think with our game, there's certainly more opportunities there that you can react there and actually change your plans.
And going back to the quests, when you are choosing those quests at the start of the game, depending on the location, those quests are different. So, as Craig mentioned, some of them could be as simple as play 3 spells, whereas another location could require you to play units over a certain size. And therefore, when you're playing a match at that location, you're actually starting to build your deck differently because you're playing it there. So even though you might be the player who likes playing as the knight and you like playing with your peasant deck, when you go to a different location, if you go to Fairfax Castle, for example, you might want to build a slightly different deck and be morphing your deck slightly in that situation. And that's an interesting challenge for lots of people to, really understand, okay, well, how do I make the best out of this? Which quests am I going to go for in Fairfax or in, the arena or in the graveyard, which is an entirely different location. And that itself gives just more variation in the game.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is, over time, there's no best deck. And this is something that was right in the middle of our core design philosophy, is we don't want there to be 6 best decks or 2 best decks, because then you just keep facing the same deck over and over and over again. We want it to be that there's our locations allow the game to change. The good and evil systems allow the game to change in a game as you're playing, and suddenly you're playing, oh, maybe you know that deck, and then suddenly the player switches to evil and you thought they were playing good, and now you're like, Christ, what cards have I actually got in that deck? And suddenly they're now playing a completely different strategy from a similar starting point. And that's what is fascinating when we're playing these games and you're expecting something and then it just totally shoots off in the other direction. And this is something that, you don't really see in other
No, and I think
CCGs.
it's going to be fascinating to get far more players coming in, because
Absolutely.
as we play through even within the development team, you see people coming up with new ideas, and you're like, oh, like I didn't even know you could do that yet. So I can't wait to see what happens when we've got hundreds of thousands of people coming in and seeing some of the crazy stuff that they come up with.
Yep.
Like, that's really exciting for me.
Yep.
I like the fact you've added in the old lady who now summons 3 fluffy cats. That's just for me, wasn't it? Yeah. I hate the fluffy cat.
Fluffy cat's awesome. If anyone ever plays Craig, you have to defeat him with a fluffy cat. He loves it.
Yeah,
It's
or
your
the
favourite
squirrel.
thing, isn't it? Or the squirrel.
Yeah.
Squirrel's good.
Let's not encourage people on how to beat me.